In today's video, I want to talk to you about some information I came across that could indicate that there's something really big on the horizon. So let's get to it. So before we jump into this video, I first want to preface with the idea that I'm not a conspiracy theorist, okay? This video may sound a little like a conspiracy theory, but I like to take a look at things and look at them from all directions and consider all the facts and then draw my own conclusions. And that's how I approach life. That's how I approach problems. I like to look at a problem and consider all possible solutions before making a decision. So I like to look at things from various perspectives. So with having said that, I don't consider myself a conspiracy theorist just because I look at something and I start thinking about the what ifs. Could this be something further down the road? And that's exactly what I found in the material that I'm going to show with you today. So as a prepper, I like to get on the internet, I scour, I look for information. I don't get all my sources from mainstream media. In fact, I try to stay away from them as much as possible. And I look for smaller news outlets and certainly other preppers and people on the ground that are reporting information about what's going on in their communities and in their area. And while doing that, I came across an article, actually I came across a video by another YouTube prepper, and he drew a conclusion that was similar to the one that I have. And that is, we found this article, and let's jump over here on a computer and I'll show you the article. But we found this article that talks about the big Asian nation building a cruise missile system that can be stored and hidden inside a shipping container. Now what's interesting about this article is that this came out in 2019, okay? So this was first reported on in 2019. So this is pre-pandemic, pre-everything that we've been experiencing in the last 2 years. But it was reported not largely in the mainstream media because I couldn't find anything on it there, and I certainly don't remember hearing about it. But for instance, the Washington Free Beacon has a news article on it, and there's several other bloggers and smaller outlets that were reporting on this back in 2019. And basically what they're saying is China has developed this cruise missile system that fits inside a 20-foot or a 40-foot shipping container where it can be easily concealed, and they can deploy the missiles from that container. The container lid opens up and they're able to fire the missiles from there. And when I read this, alarm bells went off in my head, and I thought, well, that's really alarming. And I started thinking about China and their military force. As a veteran, I'm a little familiar with, various countries and enemies of ours and their military size and force. And I know over the last 10, 15 years, China has really been ramping up the strength and the size of their military forces. And so that in itself was an alarm bell that, hey, they must be getting ready for something if they're continuing to build up their forces. And they started to buy everything new. They replaced everything over the last several years. They've invested in aircraft and ships and personnel and equipment for personnel and all manner of weapons. And so with this knowledge, and then I see that they developed this new system, it's just alarming to me. So this technology isn't new. Apparently Russia has something similar that they had been working on and developed quite a few years ago. But here's a picture of the system. And this is a real picture. This shows what looks like 4 cruise missile silos sticking up out of this shipping container. And I believe this one right here might be the Russian version. I'm not real sure. Think about that for a moment, and let's jump over to this next one here. This is by the US Sun. This is another smaller outlet, and they actually have this demonstration here, this animation of what this thing kind of looks like and what it can do. So let's watch that for a moment. So clearly these things, if they're on shipping containers, they can go just about anywhere, right? I mean, you can put these things on ships, you can put them on trucks, you can put them on rail cars, and they can be easily moved around. And, you know, here's a demonstration of it being on a cargo ship, and they launch these things from a cargo ship. Here's another graphic. Considering where we are today right now, and with what's going on with the pandemic and the supply chain mess, and that we have you know, hundreds of cargo ships stacked up around the coast, different ports, waiting to get unloaded. You know, could this be something? Could this be the prelude to something that China's doing? Hey, if you're getting value out of this video, please smash the like button now. There's additional articles here that I came across, and I didn't realize this. I know China owns a lot. I know China owns companies here in the United States. They own land here in the United States. Different businesses have you know, interest here. I get that, understand that, but what I didn't realize is that China actually owns and operates a lot of ports here in the United States, or they own terminals located on various seaports here in the United States. And so then you can think about that for a moment, and you think, well, that would make it easier to get cargo in and out. Granted, we still have Customs and Border Patrol, right? I get that. Things are still inspected. I understand that. But I don't think Customs and Border Patrol goes and inspects every shipping container that comes in. I might be wrong. If you know, please let me know in the comments below. But I'm thinking a ship comes in that's got thousands of containers on it, and they're all stacked and hard to get to. I just find it hard to believe that every container is inspected. So then I start thinking, well, you know, that opens the door to China being able to bring in you know, these missile systems and place them around ports. They can put them on rail cars, they can put them on trucks, and they can ship them throughout the United States. And they could have these things pre-positioned easily. And these missiles that are on these, they're known to have a range of about 300 miles. So they would have to get closer. I mean, you can't launch something off the coast and, you know, do much damage on the interior of the United States. So they'd have to move these things around. But you just have to wonder, is that plausible? Is that something that could be happening here? Here's another article. I'm not going to go into this one either too much, other than this is from the American Free Press, and this is back in 2007, and they were just talking about China's port grab, or they were just really buying up property at ports and setting up operations at ports and things of that nature. And it's not just here in the United States either. You need to understand that too. China has set up port operations throughout the world. They got real aggressive with trying to put things down in Panama. They've got things closer to the United States. They've got things along the African coast and just various places where they have really set up port operations, which would make it easier for them to sneak things in and out. Now here's an article that's just a little more recent. This is the Daily Telegraph, and they're reporting on this just this December here, 2021. So just a couple of weeks ago, where they were reporting the possibility that China is going to launch a Trojan horse-style attack on the United States. And so just considering that for a moment, I'm not saying that's what's happening. I'm not saying World War III is about to kick off by any means. I'm just saying that we're a nation that tends to try to abide by the rules when we go to war. A lot of you are familiar with the Geneva Convention, okay? It's a set of rules that a lot of Western nations have agreed to follow in how they execute war operations. And you know, even though there's a lot of good in the Geneva Convention, it really ties one arm behind our back when we're fighting an enemy force. And we saw that in Afghanistan, we saw that in Iraq, where there were rules placed upon us on what we could do and what we couldn't do, what types of weapons we could use. And unfortunately, the end result is a prolonged war against an enemy that didn't follow those rules, and that would be very barbaric and use any means possible to win. And that's where China falls in, and that's where the Asian nation comes in. They're going to be barbaric people. They're going to be a formidable enemy. They're not going to play by the rules. And so, you know, we have to understand that, and we have to know and realize that they could be planning something right now, and you know, we wouldn't know it. But here's one more article. This is the last article I'm going to show you, and this just came out about a month ago. This is by the news.com, Australian news agency, And they had an article that came out in November that talks about thousands of ships on China's coast just vanish. And you know, that was a little alarming too. And so I started reading through and understood more about what it is. But basically what happens is China has now decided that any cargo ships and tankers and things that enter Chinese waters, they're now going to start blocking the tracking systems, the maritime tracking system that tracks ships around the world. They're now blocking that. So once these Chinese vessels enter Chinese waters, the rest of the world can't see what happens with that ship and where it goes. And so that means those ships can be pre-positioned and moved around within China's waters, and we wouldn't know where they're going and what type of cargo they're getting loaded up on. And so once they get ready to leave Chinese waters and they enter international waters again, they pop back up on these maritime tracking systems, and we can see, okay, there's the ship. But what we don't know is what port it went into and how long it was there and, you know, what it was doing. And so that's another thing that's just a little bit alarming. Why would China want to block that information? What's secretive about that type of information that they don't want to get out? But if you consider that and you kind of piece it together with some of the other little tidbits of information that's out there, it kind of makes one think, is there something more going on here? Is there something amiss? Is there something on the horizon that we need to be concerned with? I don't know. I don't have a crystal ball. I can't tell you. I don't know. All I'm sharing with you is facts and information that I have found that to me paints a picture that, yes, something could be amiss. So with that, I'm going to leave it to you to stew on that and make of it whatever you wish. I just wanted to share that information with you. I found it interesting, and I thought you would too. People in the prepping community, you know, we try to think ahead. We try to prepare for every scenario, and certainly a war, a World War III type war is not out of the question. And that's something that we need to continue to prep for and to think about. So with that, you know, think about your long-term food storage, your water storage, water purification means, shelter, defense tools, and other things that you would need to sustain yourself and your family for a long period. Hey, I got a new website called downgridsurvival.com where I share with you some of the products that I have found that I like. They're more of a budget-friendly products, most of them. Some of them are premium, but it's things that I've tested, it's things that I've tried out, things that I like for myself, and I've compiled that list and put it out there for you. You may want to go out there and check it out. And if you do, there's affiliate links to some of those products where I could earn a small commission. But not all the products out there have affiliate links. That's just there for information for you to maybe help you and your family and your preps. Hey, if you're liking this kind of content, smash that subscribe button and ring that bell so you get notified of future videos. And I'm going to go ahead and stick up a couple other videos right here that I think you might enjoy. And if you click on those, I'm going to see you over on the other side. Thanks for watching.